So, hello everyone and good evening from Beirut. In Beirut time, good morning if you're in the west, in the western time, or in the forest. So, here we are right now in the session number 8, talking about or learning how to develop a full API or a full project, getting started from scratch, as you have seen, from a blank project using ASP.NET Core API and Blazor WebAssembly. We have seen until the moment a lot of great stuff that's going to help you through your career as a developer to develop an API following somehow the best practices to make it great and to have a very full functional application that works as expected for you. So at the moment, we have about from 2 to 4 watchers that's going up and down, just like the stocks. But okay, we have Stefan right now in Saudi. Hi everyone. Thanks a lot for joining. Today here we are in the last part. So there is some cool stuff to do, and of course, at the end of all of this, we are going to push the API and make it available online. So this is what we are going to do right now. We will just wait a few 1 or 2 minutes. So sorry for that, guys. So as I've said, if you have any questions before we get started for about the previous sessions and what we have implemented at the moment before we get started with the new stuff, today there's not so much to do, but it's going to be interesting as well. And then starting from the upcoming Wednesday, we are going to go ahead and start with the Blazor and the client side part. So let's go ahead and take a look at the agenda that we are going to have for this session. Okay. So today, basically, we are going to, we have only those. They are simple. First, we need to implement the functionality to assign and remove a video from a playlist. And as you know, like after the admin creates a video, he will be able to assign this specific video into a specific playlist. This is number one. And then we need to implement the functionality of retrieving all the videos related to one playlist. So we will have a functionality as like the previous video when we got the get video detail that has the video details, all the video details in addition to the comments and all the stuff. Right now we will have the same thing for our playlists. We will have a video and the playlist and a list of the associated videos for it. And then we will go ahead and just apply the authorized attributes for the endpoint that we have implemented so far. And we said like this one is for public, this one doesn't require authorized, this requires authorized, this requires an admin, and so on. And at the end, or before, we just have to go ahead and set up a Swagger UI. So for other developers, or even for us, like when we move to the client side, so we have a documentation, a documented API. We don't need to go back to the code every time we need to check something, or to memorize the endpoints and the types. This is, in our case, like as an internal developers, let's say, if you within the application, and for foreign developers that wanna basically get access to some of the content or make integration with this platform, then you should have a Swagger documentation for your API. And at the end, you are going to go ahead, set up a server, and deploy what we have implemented. So I think right now we can go ahead and get started with that. I will move here back to Visual Studio, and let's start with our first function, which is basically implementing the assigning to playlists, assigning a video to a playlist or remove it from a playlist. So basically, that's going to be a very simple process. It's an endpoint that takes the video ID, the playlist ID, and all what you have to do is just simply make a call, check if the video on the playlist, then OK, remove it. And if it is outside the playlist or it's not exist in the playlist, and in this case, just add it. So to do this, first I'm going to create a here in the shared project. OK, I'm going to create a new class. I will type playlist video request. I will call it something like this. And basically, this one is going to be very simple. It will has only two parameters. First one is the playlist ID. And the second one is the video ID. Okay, and both are required. And here as well, this one is also required, just like this. So this is great. The request is that simple. Right now, let's go ahead to the video services. Here we have iVideo service. Yeah, we need to separate the video from the interface from the class. And here, I'm going to create a new endpoint or a new function. This one, what's going to retrieve basically is we can retrieve a video detail. And also, we can just retrieve true or false, like this one has been implemented or something like that. So assign or remove video from playlist async. It will take playlist video request. You will type request like this. So this is great. Right now, I'm going to click on implemented that function, get created. OK, at the beginning. So this is cool. OK, so as we have said, we are going to fetch the video, fetch the playlists, and then check if this video is within this playlist or not. So let's get started by getting the video first. Var video equals await unit of work dot videos. Dot get video get by ID, I think. Request and let's get the playlist. Just like this. And what we have to do right now is basically we need to make a check here. If the video is null, then we can return an error. This access equals false, and message video cannot be found. And the same going to be applied for the playlist. So if the playlist is null, then we'll type here playlist cannot be null. Okay, this is great. Right now, we need to implement a function that's going to check or retrieve all in the repository, all the videos uh, So there is getting some interruption in the service today. Sorry for that. Okay, great. And here we are going to say return db dot playlist videos. First, we can bring the ID videos, video IDs, db dot playlist videos dot where that dot where e dot playlist ID equals ID. So in this case, I got all the data existing in the playlist videos. And what I'm going to do right now is to select playlist videos. So as you can see, I can select here the video. And sorry, I can use return directly. But to be able, here we need to call include. So include is going to include the details of all the videos when we retrieve a playlist video object. So here, retrieve a video object whenever we retrieve place that the mapping table between the relationship is simply many to many. So in this case, this will going to give us all the videos. And let me save that. And let's go back to the iVideo service. Okay, this is great. And for playlist videos equals unit of work dot playlists dot get all videos in a playlist. And the playlist ID is request dot playlist ID. Like that. So right now, let's check if the video is already in the playlists. If playlist videos dot single or default d dot ID equals to the request dot video ID not equals to null, then in this case, remove the video from the playlist. Other case, add the video to the playlist. Like that. So let's start first by the this one, by removing the video from the playlist. So what we can do is basically say var play And right now, instead of using find async, we can use single or default async Let's put them line by line. Okay, sorry, playlist. For this one, we can ignore this function. We can forget about it. So here, let's comment this line of code and let's say var video playlist video equals playlist videos, single or default. Video ID equals to the request video ID. And here, what we can do is just check playlist video. It's not null. Then what we have to do is to implement just a remove function within the playlists. So let's go ahead and void remove video from playlist. It's going to take play this video, assembly playlist videos that remove this one. Let's implement another function, which is add video to playlist. Playlist video db dot read db dot playlist videos dot add async playlist video, just like that. So right now we have to copy this, should paste it here, and this one as well. Okay. So what we can do right now is say unit of work dot playlists dot remove video from playlist, and we can pass the playlist video like this, or we can call the other function unit of work dot playlists dot add video to playlist async, and this time we need to create a new object of that. Signed, and the playlist equals to the playlist we have retrieved, and the video is equal to here. What we can do is retrieve a success equals true, and the message video has been removed from the playlist. That this one video has been added to the playlist. So this function, as you have seen, it's pretty easy. Okay, again, really sorry for that, guys, but right now I think the issue should be solved and the disruption shouldn't happen again. So after we have implemented the function, and right now, as you have seen, we have implemented the video and we have made the check either to add it to the playlist or just remove it. And then what we can do right now is go to the playlist controller and create an endpoint for that. So I will create an HTTP post function here, like async task, my action result. And here I can say assign or remove video, take from body the playlist request model as usual, playlist service. Okay. Yeah, let's go to the oh, sorry for that. I have implemented this in the video service. Okay. Okay, so yeah, I prefer to simply move that to the playlists, and because this somehow related to the playlists more than it's related to the video. Okay, and I will move the implementation as well. Okay. And go to this one, iPlaylist service, and simply going to add it here. So great. Now we can go back to the controller and type assign or remove video, add the model, and we can check if result is success. Return OK. And the result, else return bad request, and the result. The bad request is only when the playlist, the ID of the past ID or the past playlist ID is not exists. So let's call this function assign or remove video name put. Okay, so we'll go ahead and try that to see if it's working. Okay, and go to the postman, and okay, we have to go. Okay, so the first request is to get first the playlists. So let's see if this one is working. Okay, so let's hit send. Okay, that's cool. So as you can see, here are the list of the playlists that we have. I'm going to take this ID, for example, add a new post request, authorization, choose barrier token, and for the body here, I'm going to set it to row, JSON, ID, the playlist ID, and let's go to the function that lists all the videos we have. And I'll take this ID. Okay, I'll type here video ID. Okay, just like that. Now we need to go for this one. Let's copy the URL. assign or remove video, just like that. But before we hit send, I have forgot something very important, which is basically calling the save function in the service. So here we have added the video to playlist, but we forget to commit that change. So what we can do is basically we can put the message here. So by default, it's string.empty. And let's remove this, and we can say message equals to this one. And the same here, message equals to this one. Great. So here at the end, we can say unit of work dot commit changes. Then we pass the user ID. And at the end, we can return new operation, success equals true, and message equals message. Right now, we can try to run. Let me put a breakpoint here. OK, cool. So let's go ahead and hit the send button here to see. OK, great. Here we have got the breakpoint. This is the playlist ID and the video ID. So let's go step by step. OK, get the video. The video shouldn't be null, and that's right. Now get the playlist. The playlist shouldn't be null. Now the playlist videos has been retrieved, and there is right now no playlist videos. There is no any video within this playlist, so this should be null, and that's right. So yeah, it will try to add a new one. Okay, set the ID of this one. Great. Now set the message. Comment the result, and that's it. So let's continue. OK, great. So we have got this message. Video has been added to the playlist. So we should change this message. Right now, let's try to make the same request again. And let's see what's going to happen. So as you can see, right now, we found the video within that playlist, so it should remove it. So do that right now. Submit the save and return the result. So the video right now should be removed from this playlist. So right now, within get all the playlists, what we should do, we should implement just a new function that will retrieve also the video detail within each for the playlists. And what we have to do is let's go ahead here and let's retrieve ask operation response playlist detail get playlist get single playlist async, and we will pass only the ID of this playlist. Oh, sorry for that. OK, great. Now let's go to the implementation. OK, we'll implement this function here. Is that great? So as usual, the first step is to get the playlist and to check if it's not null. Just like that. And what we can do right now is we can return new operation message or data is going to be playlist.to. Sorry for that. We have to put this here. This one be the ID. .to playlist detail. Message equals playlist has been retrieved. successfully, and its success equals true. So what is the difference between this one and when you are retrieving this here? Yeah, the difference is right now is going to be the same. But what we are going to do is to manipulate this function, and we will make it take a specific parameter. So first, let's go to the playlist detail in this one. And here, if you remember, before at the beginning, we have commented this line. So right now, each playlist detail has a list of videos. But what we wanted to do is basically, when you are retrieving all the playlists, or yeah, we can do that. Either we need, when retrieving all the playlists, what we can do, either we bring only the first video, or we don't bring any videos when you are bringing the list of the playlists. And when the user clicks on that playlist, we can go ahead and fetch the playlist details with all the video exists. So if we go to this function here, as you can see, so I will make it take a new parameter, full is full details, or we can call it include videos. So here we have videos. Include videos. Then, okay, we should pass the videos here. Video detail. That's videos, and it's null by default. This is going to be false by default. Just in case, then set this value. Other than that, keep it null. So let's save that. And here, if you remember, we have implemented the mapping of the video using automapper. So we have to inject the automapper in this service. It only imapper. Okay. So here, what we will do is we'll say var videos equals playlist dot playlist videos. If it's not null, then select. We need to retrieve only video. We'll use automapper map it to video detail. This video. Convert them into an array, and here we can pass. As you can see, it takes two parameters. First one, the playlist videos. So let's pass the videos. And include videos is going to be true. So in this case, right now, this endpoint will return the playlist with all the related videos, while this one will, when you retrieve a list of videos, it's going to be basically null, which makes sense, because when you are retrieving all the playlists, you are not going to see the videos. You are going to see them after you click the create button or after you open the playlist. So let's go to the URL and implement public async task, my action result, get string ID will be http get, like that. Playlist service get single playlist, add the ID, result success, return OK, result Other than that, let's return not found, because this is the only case success is going to be false. Or you can retrieve bad request. But when you are getting one and you don't found it, you're basically returning not found is better than that. So let's try to run this, and again, let's add that video. Okay. Oh, great. So first, I will go to get all the playlists. I will duplicate this tab. Oh, how many tabs do we have right now? This is too much. Let's remove all of this, and I will bring the ID of this playlist from here. Paste that here, and let's click send. Okay, great. So we have got only one, and we have the list of videos, which is empty. Now let me try to add a video. Okay, the video has been added. Let's try to get this one again. And here we go. So we have the playlist with the details. But when we try to bring only the playlists, so look at that, the videos are null, which basically makes sense as we have said. So this is very great. And until the moment, you should have learned a lot how you can manipulate the data transfer objects to return that meaningful response back to the client. So right now, when you will move back to the client side, it's going to be very easy for us to deal and manipulate with the data and calling with the API. It's going to be very easy, and you will see that starting from the next session. So right now, this one has been implemented successfully. What we can do is we have implemented this one and this one. So let's move right now to set up the authorized attribute to the endpoints. So in this case, we secure our endpoints. So let's go ahead to all the controllers. Let's open the controllers folder. And meanwhile, if you have any questions regarding what we have implemented until now, you can post that in the comments box. Okay. So let's get started with the authentication controller. Basically, the authentication will be open for the public, either login or register. So we will forget about that. Let's move to the second one, which is comments. So comments, basically creating a comment, the user should be authorized to add this or edit or delete. So in this case, all this one should be authorized. Okay, sorry for that. Okay, like this. So the user has to be logged in to be able to post comments or manage them anyway. And for the playlists, of course, all the playlists should be authorized, but retrieving, getting one playlist or getting a list of playlists, this one should be open for public. So what we can do, like create, update, or delete, assign or remove a video, all of this stuff should happen via a logged in user, and he has to be an admin. So we can type here the name of the role, which is admin. If you remember from the first session, we have said we have two roles, user and admin. So this one has to be admin to manipulate with those. But for get one or get all, those should be open for public. And what we can do is just set allow anonymous here and allow anonymous here. So those two functions doesn't require the user to be authenticated to get access for them. Now let's move to the videos controller. And again, create, update, delete should happen through the admin. So you'll have the same, authorize. for the admin role, but get all the videos will be open for public. And oh, this one shouldn't get all. It should only be called get, because it's get single video. And getting all the videos should also be open for the public, but create, update, and delete should only be the user has to be an admin. So either we can put this for all the methods, or we can use authorize on the level of each method. But putting it at the top can save us a line of code. So we still have, this one is for test. So right now we have implemented this. That setting the authorized, set up the authorized the endpoint. Right now we can move ahead to the settings, the Swagger for documenting the API before we move ahead and start deploying our application online. So meanwhile, if you have any question about anything we have implemented so far, feel free to post that in the comments section before we proceed, because this session we are not going to be limited for 1 hour because we have to finish all the stuff. So starting from Wednesday, we are going to go ahead with the Blazor, so we don't need to change the schedule in a way or another. No questions? Okay, so we can move right now to the to implement the Swagger. And basically, let's remove all of this stuff. Let's close all the tabs. Okay, great. So let's go to the ASP.NET project, and I will go to manage NuGet packages here. So you can search for swashbuckle. Buckle.ASP.NET Core, like that. And we need the Swagger UI. Okay, this is great. Now let's go to the startup.cs. And in the configuration, here, services, add Swagger. Just like this, Swagger generation. Okay, maybe I forgot that. Swagger generation. Okay, maybe I need to check this, but now after we configure the service, let's go to this one, and here we can type in the middleware, use the Swagger, and then app.use Swagger UI, which basically shows the HTML and the CSS JavaScript UI that contains all the functionalities to document our API. So Swagger, Swagger dot called, okay, get the name, let me check it here, function. Okay, it is Swagger endpoint, and here we can basically define the endpoint that we can reach Swagger through. So it's Swagger/version1/swagger.json, and the second parameter, the name of our API. So you can call it whatever you want. In this case, I will call it .NET Labs API. So just like that, let's go ahead and try to see if this one will work. Okay. Cool. So let's try to reach that page. Swagger slash v1 slash swagger JSON. And here we go. This is the JSON representation of our API. Now, if we try to reach for slash swagger, so here we go. Like right now, we have all the models, all the endpoints that has been documented here. So this is great, and that was very simple, but we are not 100% ready yet. We need to define each type, because for each method, as you see in the controllers, let's go right now to the controllers, and let's get started with authentication. As you can see, the return type is iAuthentication, iActionResult, which means maybe it could be the status code 200, 400. So we need to help the Swagger to identify that better by using the HTTP or reduces type, reduces response type, this attribute. So this attribute takes two main parameters. The first one, the status code, is going to be 200, and the type of so generate token will return basically a login response. So it will be login response, or it will return login response, but with the status code 400. So let's do the same for all other endpoints do we have. And this one will return operation response of type string. So let's do that, operation response type string 200 or 400. Move to the comments controller, and we have to do the same. Copy that. So the create, it will retrieve operation response of type comment detail. Okay, but this one will return 400. CC bad request. And I think edit is the same exactly. And delete, retrieve also the same. So we are done from documenting the comments. Now we can go to the playlists. So this get returns 200 or 404, 404. So it returns operation response of type playlist detail, or it just basically just returns 404, which doesn't contain anything. Now for the get all, it returns only 200, as you can see, and it's of type collection response of playlist detail. Collection response. This is cool. And for the create, it is playlist detail, and the same, but it's going to be 400, and this will be the same for the update. And for the delete. Assign or remove a video, it will be the same, but this one is basically has nothing, so we will put it as a string. We didn't retrieve any set of data here, just a message. So like that, we are done from the playlists, and the last one is the videos. So get one video will return not found 404. Those will be nothing. Or it will return operation response of that video detail. Just to practice is to set up Swagger from the beginning, and whenever you create any new endpoint, you just go ahead and add those attributes to it. So it's going to be an easier job for you. And for the get all, it's only 200, and it's of type collection response. Okay. Now for the create, 400. Delete, it's 400 as well. 200 and 400. So this is it. I think we have implemented all of this to all the controllers that we have. So right now we can check the result and move to the deployments at the last part. Okay, let's go to /swagger. So let's have a look, for example, at the login. So when you open this one, you can see right now, it tells you what the response is exactly. Like the first one, in case it's 200, you will get this object, or it's in case it's 400, you will get this object. And for the playlist, for example, okay, in case 200, you will get this one, or 400, you will get basically nothing, just a empty object, and so on for all the controllers we have. So right now, we have a documentation, we have a well-running API that works perfectly on our machine. So the last step that we are going to do is to make this API basically functional online on a specific server. We're not going to put it in Azure, as we have said from the first part, because we are going just to follow all the stuff, like because Azure is a little bit expensive for especially when they are just a very small projects. So we are going to follow and put our API on a hosting called smarterasp.net. It's very effective. I have used it for a while, and the great thing about that, it gives you 60 days like totally free. And when you are going to pay, it's somehow it's very cheap. So before we do that, if you have any questions about what we have implemented so far, so feel free to put them. And let's move right now to the final part, which is basically the deployment. So the URL of the hosting called smarterasp.net. Click here, or I think I already have this one running on this one. Okay, this one is better. So let me log out from this account. Go to the home page. So this is basically the smarterasp.net. You can, as you can see, those are all the offers. It's pretty cheap and somehow very powerful. If you have like small apps or you have a simple websites, you can put them here on smarterasp, and they have some dedicated services and other stuff. But the great thing is they have 60 days free trial, and they don't require any credit card. So you can click get started and simply go ahead, fill out your information, click sign up, and you are just ready to go. I have already prepared the account. So you can go to the customer login here. Okay. So let's type the username and password. And for like that, let's sign in. Okay, great. So this is the page. I haven't done anything yet with my account. I have just created it before we started the session. So this is the first page you are going to see. You can click here and go to the control panel. So you'll already see a folder called site1, and application, and this is a temporary domain. You can have it here. So look at that. If you click at this one, like you will see that nothing is existing yet. So makes sense. So before we deploy the website, we need to take the database and put it there. So what we have to do first, let's go to the database section and choose Microsoft SQL. Okay, this is great. We don't have any databases yet. So let's click on Add Database. And yeah, I will choose the latest version. Let's give it a name. I will call it .NET Labs. And I will set a test password, test.123. I'll click Submit. Okay, yeah, save that. So great. Right now we have a database has been created. Look at that. It's pretty simple and fast. So what we can do is click on the connection string examples. So here we go. We can find the connection string. Let's take it. And let's go to the server. We have app settings. And as you can see, the app settings for the production is empty. So let's put it here and put our password, test.123. And if you remember, this app settings will be used in the production, and this one will be used on our development machine. So this one will still have this value, and that one on the server will have this value. So as you can see right now, basically this data and will be used on the production machine. So we also need to change this one that's being used to concatenate the images. So we can bring the temporary URL we have here. Sorry for that. Yeah, it's Firefox. So I'm going back to websites. I will right click on this, take this URL, and I will put it here. Let's remove this one. So great. But just for now, I will put this in the development just temporary because I'm still on this machine and I have to migrate the database. So what I have to do is I have already created the migrations. I just need to say update database and click enter. So in this case, that database will be updated. So meanwhile, we got a question: how to log in through external API, generate JWT. How can I set up them? Okay, how to log in through external API? Oh, basically, I didn't get the question well. Like, could you please explain more so I can? It will be more clear for me to help with that. Okay, we got a login failed for user db.NET Labs admin. Okay, that's, could it be that? Oh yeah, the password doesn't contain E. Okay, so let's try to again call update database. So great, right now the database has been updated. Let's bring back, let's bring back in the development.json our own connection string. So this data for development and this data for production. Everything is great right now. We have the database. Let's see how we can connect to the online database through the Microsoft SQL server we have here. So you can click on a new connection. You need the server name. So let's go to this page, go back to the databases, Microsoft SQL. So this is the server. You can find it here. Let's copy that and paste the server here and choose SQL Server Authentication. Now for the login, this is the username. It's called login ID. And the password is test.123. Remember the password. Let's click connect. And it is that simply. So right now we are in the database. databases. Okay, so as you can see right now, this is the tables. The database right now is available on Smarter ASP. It's online right now. And we have the two connection strings, one for the local and one for the production. So this is great. We are done from the first part of the deployment. We can move to the second part, which is basically put the website, the client side, and the server side on the on this hosting. Because I followed that the Blazor app is hosted in an ASP.NET Core app, so you need only one site to host, and you can push the server, and the client will be there. And if you choose to use like separated, the API alone and the Blazor WebAssembly is a standalone. So in this case, you have to have two hosts or two websites to be able to host the API and the client side. So this is our site, as I've said. Right now, what we need to do is to create a publisher profile from Visual Studio. And to do that, you can click on here. You have something called Show Deploy Info. Let's click on that. OK, and let's click on Get Published Settings. So we have to save. OK, great. So right now, the deployment information has been saved. I will go to Visual Studio, right-click here, and I will choose Publish. OK, great. So from the target, you have Azure, Docker, folder, and you have something here called Import a Profile. So I will click on Next. Let's browse for the profile that we have just installed from Smarter ASP. Let's go to Downloads. You can find it here. Great. Let's click Finish. OK, so this is somehow everything you need to do. But we still only have one step that's going to throw issues for you. But I still didn't know what is the cause of that issue exactly. But you need to go to Properties, Publish Profiles. This is the setting that we have received from Smarter ASP. You need to add a property here called Allow Untrusted Certificate and set its value to true. Now we can close this. Let's right-click and choose Publish again. So right now we are done. What we can do is just click Publish. So let's type the password. I think it is the password of the hosting that you will create while you sign up to Smarter ASP. Let's click OK. OK, so right now, all the files started to be uploaded to the server. That will take a few minutes. It's based on your internet speed and the number of the file that you have, because the Blazor Assembly WebAssembly app right now doesn't have anything. We don't have any libraries or something, so it's going to be somehow light. So hopefully this is not going to take a lot of time. And right now, yeah, we can as more details, how to log in through the external API. You mean Google login with JSON Web Tokens. OK, so basically, before that, I have implemented the authentication with Azure Active Directory or with Azure Active Directory P2C. I haven't implemented the authentication with Google or with Facebook for a WebAssembly application. But I think there is a channel that already did that. It's called Careers Drive. He also make tutorials about Blazor and this stuff. So you can find that there. Maybe I can find the link of the video and share it with you here. Yeah, here we go. This is the URL of the video. Many thanks to our friend for doing such a great tutorials. You can find it there. So he's going step by step through this process. Right now, wow, that was very fast. Our application, I think, is online. Hopefully there is no issues. And as you can see, the Blazor app is loading. Okay, and here we go. Right now, our application is online and it's running through this temporary domain. We have everything functional. Let's see if we go to the Swagger page. Okay, this is so great. So until the moment, we have built a full API, and right now it's existing out there. It's just working fine. We can make a test call to make sure that everything is just working great. Let's copy this. And let's go to Postman. I will go, for example, to the first part, which is API authentication login. So I will replace the local with this one. So I will try to click send. And here we go. We were able to log in, but through the online one, because already when the API is running, it tries to seed some users and roles. So we can do that. And let's try to do the same for the register and try to, oh no, this is create a playlist. Yeah, let's try to do that. We'll bring this access token. Citation. Click send. And oops, we have got an error here. Let's see what is this one. Okay, we got an internal server error, and that's basically okay. So here we couldn't see why this happened, and because simply right now, because we are in the production, so it's not going to return the exception as it is in the response. What you have to do is to switch to the development environment through the UI and through the from the hosting, and then try to send a request to make sure that everything is just working fine. So maybe I can do that right now, but let me try to just make another call. Maybe there is something wrong here with the authorization. Get all videos. Let's try to make this. Okay, so it looks like there is something wrong, and we have to debug that. Okay, creating this is working. So, okay, right now we have to go to the hosting to switch to the development environment to be able to see the exception and then to detect what's going on. So sorry for making the session that long, but yeah, this is better than, so in the upcoming session, we can go ahead and start directly with the client side. So I will go to the file manager to be able to see all the files I have. And right now, I am going to go for, here we have a file called web.config. Let's click Edit. Okay, so here we can set the environment from development to production. So to switch it into an development environment, we can use this. I'm not memorizing it well, but yeah, we can set it here. It's called, okay. Okay, yeah, within this one. dotNET core. So here we can define a tag called environment variables. Like this. Variables. Yeah, just like that. And here we can define it like this. It's called, we can define the variable environment variable. And there is two attributes like the name. Okay, the name is ASP.NET Core environment. The value and make it development. So let's make sure that I don't have any mistakes. Environment variables. Okay, so let's try to save this one. Okay. And let's go back to the websites. So click on this. I am going to turn this website off and on again. Okay, right now the website is off. Let's try to run it again. Okay, so the app is running again. Let's try to make another request for this one. Oh, this is interesting. We have got a very weird error, even after exploring what is going on. Okay, I will try to run this locally, but on the online database. And let's see if we can get something, if the issue is related to the database. Okay. Okay, let's click send. Oh, sorry for that. Yeah, the issue is related to the policies we have defined. And oh, I'm really sorry for that. But I made a terrible mistake. Oh, this is programming. Wow, I didn't notice that. This is I directly implemented the authorization policies and deployed the project without testing. But if we go to the playlists, so if you look at that, the authorize, and here I just passed the string. This string is the name of the policy that I should define, that has specific rules. I define them. But I want the rules, so what I should do is just say rules equals admin. Oh, this is weird. I have wasted about 20 minutes checking for something that, okay, yeah, it happens. Okay, great. So right now, I can republish this. So let's right click, publish, and let's set the password. Yeah, that's interesting, because when I tried it first for the login, it works perfectly. But when I try to create a playlist or try to get a video, so wow, I got that weird error. And yeah, when I tried it locally, I get the exception that there is no policy called admin. So I didn't setting the rule for admin. I was setting for admin policy, which is basically not exists. So meanwhile, let's see. We have some question from Aftab Ahmad. Nice. So thank you for that nice comment. And we have from Stephen, if we could store files on a storage point like Azure Storage, is there any need for additional security steps, setups for the files apart from the token received on the login? Okay, basically, if you are trying to achieve this, like if you are putting the files on the Azure storage, yeah, you can implement all the security through the Azure storage, like using the SaaS token or something like this. The only thing that should be stay safe is the connection string of your Azure storage or Azure Blob storage, let's say, and you can keep that on the hosting somehow safe, or you can use the Azure Key Vault for that. But if you want to store the files on Smarter ASP, like in the www root folder, what you have to do is basically you have to implement your own security mechanism. You have to implement your own token and manipulate a little bit the use static files middleware to be able to implement security for this. So this is just a brief talk about that. Now, let's try to create another playlist, but with this one. Okay, I'll copy this again. Send. And okay, it has been created. So right now the API is just functional 100%, and it's existing online. It took us about 90 minutes. Okay, sorry for making it that long, but I think it deserves. I hope like you enjoyed it from the beginning and to reach at this moment. We have done something very, somehow it's great. We covered a lot of things, from the authentication to writing somehow clean code. If you go into the services, you read the steps, it's very easy and clear right now. The repository pattern, the models, unit of work, and playing with the DTO, either using extension methods, using automapper. Yeah, all the stuff has been implemented, and right now we have published the API. It's available online. In the next video, we are going to start with the Blazor app. Yeah, this one, which is right now, somehow it's my favorite technology for this time. So again, I hope you enjoyed it. And if there is any questions about anything, please, you can put them right now before we end the session. So no questions? Okay, so this is great. Thanks for joining me for this long time. It has been like 1 hour and a half. This is a little bit long. So I hope you have learned and discovered something new, and this will going to add benefit to your daily job. And right now you have better understanding for APIs and how to create them, how to deal with the controller, clean code, and following the repository pattern, the unit of work pattern. Divide your code into interfaces and divide the layers from the data access layer, the models, the repository, the services, the controllers, and everything. Just you have understanding that very well. So I really enjoyed that with you. So let's get ready for the next part. It's going to be more interesting because while you're writing code and there is UI, you are doing with Blazor with the components. So that's going to be very, very interesting. We will use the Microsoft Fluent UI so we will have a UI like somehow it will have the same soul that you can see throughout the Microsoft Office product, the Microsoft Azure, the same UI components. So yeah, a lot of cool things are waiting for us starting from the next week. So thanks for joining, and see you on Wednesday. Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.